Okay, so today we are going to be working on the angle bracket in Autodesk Inventor Professional 2022. So this is essentially our goal here. So we have this basic L shape and then a pattern of 4 holes. Let's close this out. We're going to start a new file. So we're going to click on New, and we will click on standard.ipt. And then the first thing we want to do is go on the left over here to our browser and select our YZ plane and hold shift and select center point. So we highlight all these pieces and then right click and select visibility. And we will press F6 on the keyboard. There we go. So now we have our planes where we can start our 3D model. Now let's look at our dimensions. So here, we're going to start by drawing the basic side profile, our L shape here. So that's going to be 2 inches by 2 inches. And each leg of that L is 3/8 of an inch thick. We're not going to worry about the rounded corners. We'll add those as separate fillets later. And then when we extrude this, it's going to be 1.5 inches wide in total. So let's get that basic shape made. So we'll start with our XY plane. And we're just going to roughly draw, start a new sketch on here. Brings up our sketch menu, and we're just going to roughly draw out an L shape. So nice vertical line here, and again, make sure you're seeing that kind of box pop up to tell you that things are vertical, horizontal, perpendicular, etc. We can kind of bring this up here. We see the dotted line connect the ends here. Alright, so we just have, again, a basic L shape. We're going to click on dimension, and we're just going to make this, again, 2 inches tall. We'll zoom out a little so we can see the whole thing. And then 2 inches here. We just want this to be identical to that. So I'm going to actually select that so it puts in D0. And then it references that. And then our thickness of our material we said is 3/8 of an inch. So we will enter that. And the same thing over here. So we'll select that same dimension so it duplicates that. That way if we adjust either of these two numbers, it will automatically resize itself. So we'll finish our sketch here. And we'll zoom out so we can extrude this. Click on extrude. We have one profile available here, so it's going to find that automatically. Then we're going to set our distance to 1.5 inches like we said before. Again, I prefer to work in a symmetric style here, so we're going to click on symmetric, and then we'll click OK. Now this plane, this YZ plane, is sort of in the way, so I'm actually going to make it not visible. So right click and just turn off the visibility there. What we want to do is we're going to put the hole, one of our holes of our 4 here, right in this front face of our angle bracket. So we'll click on the surface and then we'll click on create sketch. And we're just going to use the point tool. Really anywhere, somewhere in this lower left hand corner is a good spot. And then we're going to dimension where that goes. So if we look at our drawing here, our lower left hole is 7/8 of an inch up and 3/8 of an inch in from the left edge. So we will just click there. So then we'll click on dimension. So from the very bottom to our point is going to be 7/8 of an inch. And then from our point to our left edge, we said, is 3/8 of an inch. So that's now in the correct spot. So we're going to finish that sketch. We're not going to dimension in any of the other holes. Just do this in one shot. We're going to use the hole tool. We're going to drill that hole. Okay, it's finding the one point that we have there. It's a simple hole. There's no seat to it. Our termination is going to be through all because it's going through the whole object. And then our direction, again, we're making sure it's going through there. We can kind of see that being previewed right here. And our diameter is 1/4 inch. So we'll click OK. Let's take a look at our bolt hole pattern here. So we have 4 of those at 1/4 inch, like we just said. And they make a 3/4 inch square grid. So that means from center point to center point, it's going to make a 3/4 inch square grid. Now I could use some construction lines and lay out all those center points separately, or we can use our pattern tool here. So we're going to click on rectangular pattern. It's going to say what feature. Well, we want our hole, so we'll select that. And then it's going to ask for direction 1. Now what it's looking for in direction 1 is really any edge or line that sort of goes in that same direction. So if we're going to go up and down, we're going to select a vertical edge here. You see it's previewing with up. We have a little arrow here. We're showing where the hole is. However, our distance is not correct, so we got to set that to 0.75. And it's giving us 2 in the column. Then direction 2 is going to be anything horizontal. So we'll click on a horizontal edge here. You see it's going the wrong way. So we're going to click this little flip button, go in the correct direction, and then we're just going to set it to 0.75, and then click OK. All 4 of our holes are there. We can kind of verify that they're all centered up and nice, exactly where we want them. And then last but not least, we're going to round off our corners. Now, those corners are, all fillets and rounds are 1/4 of an inch radius, so 1, 2, and 3 of those. So we will select, I'm actually going to close that. We'll close that later. So we will select our fillet tool. Make sure the radius is set to 1/4 of an inch. It defaults to 1/8 of an inch, so make sure that's that. And we select the edges we want to fillet. So there's one, select this inside corner here, and then select that outside corner. Click OK. And we can see we've gotten our basic profile shape there. And that is the entire angle bracket.